Welcome back to MotionPic Recap. Today we're going to recap the action, adventure and romance movie titled 10,000 BC. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In the year 10,000 BC, a small hunter and gatherer group called the Yagahls found it harder and harder to live like their ancestors, all because it became harder and harder to find mammoths for food and materials. One evening, two hunters returned from the mountains, having found a small girl holding onto a dead woman. They show the girl to a woman they call Old Mother, the last of her kind who can speak to the spirits of the earth, who sees a glimpse of destiny and starts speaking of a prophecy. She explains the girl came to tell them of four-legged demons that will come to their valley at the time they go on their last hunt. However, she tells them not to fear, since a warrior will arise from the hunt, who will take the girl as his woman, and the two will lead them into a new life where the Yagahls will know hunger no more. She cannot see the face of the warrior, but says she knows the girl with the blue eyes is a blessing they have to protect. Not long after, a father to a young boy, the one who carries the white spear, makes his good friend Tik promise to tell no one why he left, handing the spear to his friend, and explaining they can't wait for the last hunt Old Mother spoke about. Some days later, a child called Karen is seen fighting a boy called Delay, and when stopped by Tik, Karen says Delay is the son of a coward. Tik tells them never to speak that way about Delay's father again. The girl, whose name is Evelet, walks up to Delay, remarking he's alone like her. He asks what happened to her people, and she explains they were killed by four-legged demons. Delay promises her she will never be alone again, pointing at a star whose light never fades, saying its light will be like her in his heart, it will never go away. For many moons afterwards, Delay and Evelet looked at each other, and the love in their hearts grew stronger. After years, the day of the last hunt finally arrives. A young boy called Baku explains to Delay that Tik spoke to Old Mother, who thinks the time of prophecy has come, saying they believe Karen will win the white spear and claim Evelet. Evelet appears and distracts Baku with food while she and Delay walk off to talk. She tells him Karen is too good of a hunter for him to beat, and so their best chance is to run away together. Delay however says he can't abandon their people like his father did, and that the only way they can be together is if he kills the great Manik. Suddenly, Baku hears something, and comes running, saying the Manaks have arrived, and the three are awed by the mighty sight. The next day, Tik explains that the one who pierces the heart of the Manik will claim the white spear, and all the hunters wish each other good luck. They gather together and sneak up on the herd. Suddenly, Tik finds the lead Manik, stands up, and starts yelling, scaring it. The rest of the hunters start yelling too, and the herd start running. While they are chasing the Manaks, other Yagahl members sign to each other that the herd is coming. As the last Manik, a big bull, comes running through the narrow passage, they catch it in a big net. The hunters arrive, and Karen throws his spear, but misses. Suddenly, the bull manages to break free, and the hunters jump to grab the net. Moments later, Tik tells them all to let go, but Delay's hand is caught in the net and can't. He's dragged away, and as the net becomes stuck to some rocks, freeing the bull from it, the bull starts charging Delay. He manages to dodge the bull's attack, and then manages to get his hand free. He picks up a spear, but only manages to anger the bull with it, who charges him again. Delay sees another spear, and uses the ground to make the bull charge straight into the spear itself, all while trying to avoid being crushed himself. Tik sees it all, and as it has fallen, the rest gets to it. They rescue Delay, after which everyone starts saying no one has ever killed one alone before. Karen remarks he's brave, and all start cheering. The rest of the Yagahls arrive, and Delay claims the white spear, as well as Evelet, who becomes very happy. From that day on, Delay was no longer the son of a coward. Old Mother was pleased to see Evelet so happy, but she feared Delay did not have the courage for what was to come. During one of the following nights, Delay goes to talk to Tik in his hut, who explains he knows he let the Manik run into his spear and didn't kill it with his own hands. Delay answers he knows, but that he can't give up Evelet. Tik then says it's not the way of the Yagahl to claim the white spear with a lie. Later that night, as Evelet comes up to Delay, he tells her he gave the white spear back to Tik, explaining he claimed it with a lie and wasn't brave. He reminds her of the star, saying he still feels the same way about her, but she gets sad since he not only gave up the spear, but her too, and leaves. Early the next morning, the four-legged demons suddenly arrive, terrorizing the Yagahls. Delay wakes up where he and Evelet spoke last night, seeing his people being attacked, and runs to help. Baku hides in a hut as a warrior steps in and kills his mother. They capture and take all the young and strong ones, as well as Evelet, and start leading them away. Delay arrives, but is stopped by Tik who tells him they have no chance against them. Afterwards, Delay is prepared to go after them, and Karen says no one can cross the mountains. Tik-Tik says they will need to go. If they don't save the other hunters, they'll all die. Baku wants to follow, but is told he has to stay back, and so the three go. Baku sneaks away and follows them. The first night, Karen asks Delay why he's not carrying the white spear, but gets no answer. The next day, they discover Baku is following them. Tik-Tik says he will only slow them down, but since he has no family left, they let him go with them. Baku however has more energy than Tik-Tik thought. They find a camping site, and a piece from Evelet's jewelry, and continue on. That evening, a snowstorm hits them, and Old Mother is following their spirits, feeling the freezing cold. The snow destroyed all tracks from their stolen brothers and sisters, and after many days and nights, they remark they have yet to find more of their marks. The warriors reach the place where the great mountains end, and where Evelet's people once lived. The next day, one of the warriors finds that Evelet is leaving marks behind, and the leader tells her to hand the jewels to him, which she refuses to do, and so he picks up a whip to break her spirit. The Yagahls find the place, and they see how birds are being scared away in a nearby forest. In the forest, one of the warriors is suddenly taken by some big animal, and they start running. As they camp in the forest that evening, Delay and the others catch up. Delay says they must free them during the night, but Tik-Tik says it's a bad time since the demons are keeping watch for dangerous animals and they risk getting caught. In the morning, a warrior goes up to Evelet and starts touching her. But Delay suddenly appears and rescues her. Horses are scared by something, and as they prepare to leave, they notice Evelet is gone. They find Delay and Evelet trying to save their captured brothers and sisters, and start chasing them. They meet up with Tik-Tik and the rest, but Karen is caught. The group continues into the forest, but suddenly stops, hearing noises. Suddenly, they are attacked by enormous birds, and the chase ceases. Tik-Tik gets trouble fighting a bird, and the others try to hide in trees to avoid being eaten. Delay promises Evelet he will come back, and starts running to lead the birds away from them. He climbs up a rock and manages to take out one of them. The other bird continued chasing him, and as they run into a bamboo part of the forest, Delay manages to kill it with a broken stick. Meanwhile, Evelet and Baku are taken. The lead warrior warns them never to run away again. Delay finds Tik-Tik badly hurt, but alive. The captors continue on through a savanna, and Delay follows them, carrying Tik-Tik with him. Trying to keep him alive, Delay asks Tik-Tik for forgiveness for not listening to him, saying he will bring food. While hunting however, Delay falls down a trap and is knocked unconscious. Suddenly, Old Mother wakes up to a scary sight. That night, the rain starts pouring down, filling the trap and awakening Delay. He sees the big creature with him, stuck and almost drowning, and first is about to kill it, but feels sorry for it and tells it not to eat him. Delay manages to set the beast free, and at first it seems like it will attack him, but instead jumps out, and Old Mother is relieved. He climbs up using a tree trunk. Back at the camp, Delay finds Tik-Tik is alive and good, who tells him he heard an attack beyond the hills. The two get to a small village, something they've never seen before, and are captivated by the place. They find food, and start eating, but in the middle of it, people appear with weapons. However, they are all suddenly distracted as the beast from before appear. Everyone move away, all but Delay who faces the big cat, and the people are stunned at what they see, and the cat eventually leaves. One in the tribe called Nakudu can speak their language, and they are invited to eat with them. As they ask how they know their language, Nakudu explains another man looking like them once came to find new lands, who became his friend, and points out Delay have his face. Delay says it must be his father and asks where he is. They explain he was taken long ago by the demons to the big birds, across the sea of sand, to the mountain of the gods, from where no one has ever returned. One of their wise men starts talking, and Nakudu translates they have a telling that a man one day will come and free their people, the one who speaks to the spear tooth. After having buried their dead, they sent words to all the tribes of the land that the man who speaks to the spear tooth had come. Delay asks Tik-Tik why they think he can lead them, and Tik-Tik responds by telling the true story about his father, how he didn't abandon them, but went out to find a new way of life since all the Yagahls were starving. He tells him a good man draws a circle around his family and cares for them, others bring in their brothers and sisters in that circle, but a few men bring in many more, saying his father was such a man, and tells him he has to decide whether he is as well. The next day, tribe members bid their families goodbye, and Delay asks Nakudu about his family, who responds the demons took his wife's breath and stole his son the day before they came. Among the captured, Baku befriends a boy called Tudu, and as they stop to drink later and a warrior starts choking Baku, Tudu tries to help him. Eventually, Evelet gets the leader to stop the offender, who gets angry and almost draws his knife on the leader. The word of delay traveled fast, and warriors from all over the land assemble to follow him. He is met with great respect, and all the tribes join him. They walk without stopping and resting, and for every day that passes, more tribes join. One tribe that meets them says the great birds have already arrived. Delay runs up, sees the great birds, and yells Evelet's name. As Evelet hears him and notifies the others Delay is there, they are all stunned at the sight of all the people following him. The last tribe they met explained the river moves like a snake through the sand, and their brothers and sisters are taken to the eye of the snake, which rests under the sun that doesn't move under the moon. Tik-Tik asks if there is a shorter way there, and they reply they can cross the desert, but say no one can walk that far. Delay says they must find the snake anyway and free their people. They walk, and several days later, they have yet to find the eye of the snake. Evelet is awakened by the leader, who tells Evelet she must forget the man following her, since no one has ever survived crossing the sea of sand. Suddenly one night, Delay figures out that the tribesmen at the river meant the eye of the snake rests under the light that never fades at night, which will guide them, and so they begin traveling at night. In the Yagahl valley, people start thinking all spirits has left Old Mother, who neither eat or speak. Old Mother, however, is aware there's one more destiny to fulfill. Delay and the tribes reach a seemingly dark place, and when hearing strange sounds beyond the dune, they are met with the sight of the mountain of the gods. Their brothers and sisters had already arrived days before, and working among the slaves to help build the enormous structure, they remark how disrespectfully they treat the Manaks. Suddenly, all people lay down on the ground at the sound of a horn. Someone tells a man something, and the man shouts for all to hear that the Almighty demands a sacrifice. They pick up a Yagahl member, and throws him from a great height, killing him. On the other side of the dunes, Delay tells Tik-Tik there are too many to fight, but Tik-Tik responds the people that are forced to work are even more. That evening, Evelet is bought by the demon leader, and slave workers are locked up. Delay and Nakudu take out a guard, and climbs into the caged area. Nakudu meets his son Tudu, and Delay asks Baku where Evelet is, and Baku explains women sleep elsewhere. As Delay talks to Karen, Karen says he will stand and fight beside him. A man walks up to them, and Nakudu asks them to join them and fight. The man tells them they can't fight gods, but then Nakudu explains Delay has magical powers and can talk to the spear tooth. They are shown a blind man who knows much about the gods, who was a servant to one once, but ran away. Delay listens, and the man explains there were three, but now there's only one left. Once he heard the gods speak of what he fears most of all, which is a mark they call the mark of the hunter, the mark you can see at the sea at night, the brightest star of the heavens. Without the mark, he can't bring down the god. Guards appear, and Delay asks the blind man where he got his bracelet, who responds it belonged to the man who saved him, who now is buried among all the others, and asks why he wanted to know. Delay responds it was his father's. They run back to the tribes, followed by guards. As the tribesmen see they got followed and run to stop them, Tik-Tik appears and fights them. He's skilled and takes down one after the other, however thinking they are dead, one arises and stabs him. Delay arrives, saying he needs him, and that the slaves won't fight with them, having their own prophecy. Tik-Tik answers prophecies have many faces, and with his last breaths, he hands Delay the white spear, saying it belonged to his father. Somewhere else, the demon leader tells Evelet he set her free to make her his. Suddenly, people storm him, bringing him away for stealing Almighty's slave, having been betrayed by his own man. As two servants to the Almighty walk up to Evelet and see some scars on her hands, they exclaim in fear it's the mark. She's brought to the lead servant, who takes a look at her hands, forming the bright mark of the night sky. He runs to tell the Almighty about it, who becomes upset. Delay mourns Tik-Tik, but is reminded by Nakudu that all the people are waiting for him. Delay goes down to the tribes, and starts a powerful speech, telling them his tribe, the Yagahls, fight the great Manaks, and even though the beasts are great and they themselves are small, they still bring them down, because they hunt together, as one. He yells out that when the sun rises, they will run and convince their brothers and sisters on the mountain of the gods to fight with them, as one, and all the tribes cheer. That morning, they prepare for the fight to come. Evelet and the demon leader have been brought to Almighty, who is informed that a man has been following Evelet with a great number of warriors. Meanwhile on the mountain of the gods, Karen and Delay tell Baku they have found the lead Manik. Baku, Tudu and some others run to free the lead bull, and suddenly Delay gives the signal, and suddenly they all start to fight. As Delay tries to scare the lead Manik, Almighty's warriors appear, and Karen tells everyone to run up. He then runs down himself to give Delay more time, sacrificing himself. Suddenly, Delay succeeds, and all the Manaks start running down, crushing Almighty's warriors. All over the mountain, tribesmen start fighting the oppressors, and all their brothers and sisters join them. Almighty is informed about what's happening, and he orders them to take Eveleth outside and rip her apart. They do as they say, and once they come back outside, they see how the golden top of the mountain falls down, and how all the people are coming running towards them. But then suddenly Delay stops, and tells all the others to do the same. A horn is blown, and all but the tribesmen lay down on the ground. Almighty appears, and his servant shouts so all can hear, saying they will kill Eveleth, like this traitor, if the man following her doesn't turn back. If he does turn back, he can take his woman with him. Delay says he accepts their offer, but demands he will take all Yagahls with him, which Almighty accepts. Delay walks closer, asking what will happen to the others, and gets the answer they belong to the god and will do his work forever. Delay says for himself they won't, and throws his spear. Almighty is pierced, and dies, and all realize he's not a god. They all begin to fight, and the demon leaders start fighting as well to save Eveleth. Being taken on a horse, Eveleth yells Delay's name, who start running after them. All the servants try to escape on a huge ship, but to no avail. Eveleth sees some arrows and stabs the demon leader with it, and they both fall off. Delay and Eveleth start running happily to each other when Delay suddenly gets desperate of what he sees is about to happen. Old Mother feels what happens in spirit and starts bleeding. Furious, Delay runs up and kills the demon leader. Almighty and his servants have all been stopped, and people are cheering all over the place. But in Delay's arms, a dying Eveleth repeats the words, "You came for me," and takes her last breath. He puts Eveleth's jewelry in her hands, and walks away in desperation, not knowing what to do. Having journeyed to the end of the world to bring down the one they call Almighty, only to return without Eveleth, was not what Old Mother had foretold. But as she was lost to him forever, the legend of the child with the blue eyes began. Delay starts running back to his love. Eveleth had brought the promise of life to the Yagahls, and now suddenly, with Old Mother's last breath, Old Mother had given it back. Nakudu cries out words for their victory, and all the people start cheering. Some time later, Nakudu tells Delay his father wanted to bring back seeds with him, and Delay thanks his brother and friend for life, for everything. They bid each other goodbye, never to see their friends of the Naku tribe again, and begin their long journey home. Together, all the Yagahls helped each other to use the Naku tribe's knowledge of seeds, and when the first moon was born again to their valley, it brought with it the first foods of their land. And so it came to pass, that the promise of life was fulfilled. The end. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this, and hit the like button to help us out. Until next time, take care.